Well, I was going to ask you, Candice, about this idea of being in character, because and being this character of yourself, because I'm MC Stoll, and I like to think that MC Stoll is a tad cooler than Jonathan Stoll, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea that, like, I watched the video and that's you. Like, I'm seeing you. It's the same person that was on the video, and yet you are not that person. Like, it is a character, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're into psychology. Like, you studied psychology. Like, how do you, I don't know, get into Candice's mind in terms of turning something on and off that seems so personal? Like, I watched a video where you said, "Come inside me," and I don't know if that was your husband, but that seems very personal. Like, that's how babies are made. But then you're acting, I get, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also you. So I don't know, break that down. How does that work?
So I think it's important to have like an alter ego or like a stage name when you're doing anything kind of entertainment based, whether like you outright say like this is my stage name, or if it's just even in your own head, like to channel like this alter ego. Because if you are in entertainment, regardless if it's like porn or if it's mainstream or comedy, whatever, you're in an abnormal situation. Like, it's not a place you're gonna ever really find yourself in like your daily life. So I think you kind of have to like have a certain like toolbox, if you will, to be able to do well and like thrive in those scenarios. So like you can be more confident or more outgoing. You can be sexier, you can be naughtier, like things that I would probably not do in like my real sex life, I'm going to do for film because it's entertaining. I mean, if you were to film me normally, you'd be really bored and be like, why is this being filmed? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're very different experiences. So I think it's important to have the two. And I mean, Eva does things Candice wouldn't dream of doing. So I think it's important to kind of also have that separation so you can ground yourself when you're done, and then like leave that character in like the little box that she belongs in.
The transferable skills. So that's what I'm interested in terms of what you're doing. And you're still doing it, right? You have like a private page on your website where you still do softcore.
Right.
And so I was telling Colin that this is a hardcore interview. We're taking, this is no softcore podcasting.
Uh-huh.
So you're still doing it. What's the difference between hardcore and softcore? And I think more specifically, I wanted to transition into what you're doing now as a podcaster, as a parent, and more specifically, what you learned from that experience. Because the thing is, you weren't just in porn. Like, you were, I think this video that I watched, there was like 24 million people who had watched it. Like, you were pretty damn successful. And so my sense is, not knowing the industry, that it was a lot more than what was just on camera. What were you doing on camera? It was the behind the scenes, and that business aspect. You as an entrepreneur, that becomes relevant to podcasting, parenting, and all that you do, even outside and after porn.
Totally. So I think a lot of people, they kind of just like take it at face value, right? Like, if you're a porn star, like you're just doing something that's like considered taboo on camera, that's it. Everyone's kind of the same. But if you were to really take a step back, like there's a very big difference from like the women and men that make it a successful career and maybe use that to like go in a different direction, or maybe like that's just all they want to do, but they really capitalize on like that situation. And then there's other ones that kind of go in with maybe a little bit less intention, I guess, and kind of just like make decisions without thinking them all the way through. So for me, I think for that industry in particular, there has to be like a balance between sexuality, like really enjoying like that aspect of it, but also having like a level head and like a strategy as to like, what is your 10-year plan and where do you want this to go? And a lot of people will say like, once you do that, you close like every single door. But at the end of the day, like I am not the type of person that would do well working for anybody. Like, I kind of have to be my own boss. It just, that's not how I'm wired. So any door that might have like been closed by that decision, like wasn't going to be a viable option anyways. So it's being able to kind of like see where my interests and passions are outside of the industry, and then try to like just tailor my experiences to do well once I leave. So I left like probably 4 or 5 years ago out of like mainstream hardcore shooting. And then I've been trying to just kind of like find out what's next. So I would say like the things that I took away from the industry that are really important are I always tell, like, especially women, like the biggest thing to say is like, no, like get comfortable not being so agreeable, because if from a psychological standpoint, women are naturally more agreeable than men. It's just how a lot of us are wired. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be a bit of an Achilles heel, especially if you're in a vulnerable industry like that. So you have to get comfortable saying no. And then also, like, you can go into like the whole Simon Sinek know your why. So like just know why you're doing everything, what your like mission statement as a person is, or as a family is, what you want that to be for your business. And then once you can kind of answer those questions, it'll kind of help navigate you where you're supposed to be. So for me, it's like, again, like not being so agreeable. And then also, once I realized like what I want to do with right now, it's like podcasting, is trying to like quiet down that negative self-talk that goes in my voice, which is like, no one wants to listen to me. I'm not qualified. Everyone's going to think I'm a stupid porn star. Like, I'm going to look bad. And then just like ignoring that, and then just doing what the work that I think that needs to be done, which is like proper interviewing of the guests, like vetting them, just having interesting conversations, going in without like judgment, just having fun, honestly, at the end of the day.
Thanks for watching this short clip. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. To listen to the full episode, visit soulforceones.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Peace.